Recorded. So welcome. I wanted to first actually take a little moment to center in. Um, just do a little breath exercise. We've had an interesting start to school, just with kiddos got sick and we all overlapped. And so we've just had a lot going on. So if you can share yourself or not, but if you don't want to be seen during your breath, you can also just hide your video, but I'm just going to do a little body scan breath exercise to get us rolling. So go ahead, close your eyes unless you're driving, then please don't. And find a comfortable seat. If you're seated, hold on, I'm going to mute.
Oops, sorry, that's me, I think.
Okay,
I know.
where to mute, and I don't see it.
Certified for rest control techniques.
Right.
No, that's not me.
No,
Course information report.
where I mute everyone. I see audio.
Participants.
But
Okay.
it's on the spreadsheet. So I'm sure she probably got it out of the like training chapter because we were at one time.
I think there's a couple.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so if you're seated, find a comfortable position. If you're standing, do what you need to do, but try and find yourself a seat if you can. We're just gonna, like I said, do a little intro, body scan, ground in, come here. So closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in through your nose, slight pause, out through your nose. And then I just want you to pay attention to, we're going to start from the bottom of your feet, your toes. Pay attention to relaxing your feet. Maybe you've walked today already. Maybe you've been running around getting people ready. So allow your feet to just relax, going into your knees, finding stillness up through your hips. You can do a couple like small hip circles, really ground your seat into the ground. If you're sitting, if you're standing, finding neutral with your hips. Up through your belly. Place your hand on your belly, and this is where you can really feel your diaphragm. It's that umbrella-shaped muscle up under your rib cage. So as you inhale, diaphragm expands. Slight pause. Exhale through your nose if you can. If you need to, exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders relax. Let your face soften. We hold a lot of tension in our faces. So let your face soften. Even your mouth, your lips, your tongue should be on the roof of your mouth, and you're just focusing in on your hands on that breath space, that belly space, your diaphragm. You can even put your hands around your sides and breathe your hands out. Just trying to not force any kind of timing, but just let it be a little bit more elongated than your normal breath with a slight pause, and then slowly exhale out. Inhale, slight pause, exhale. And as you're sitting here in more of like a, hopefully a little bit calmer, a little bit more grounded, a little bit more present, you can choose into an affirmation if you want. You can choose into an intention for your day. It can be one word, something that you want to take for the rest of your day. It could be joy, it could be patience, it could be fun, play, hope, happiness, peace. Just choosing something for you in this moment that you want to carry through the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me on a little breath to get us grounded. I know for me, it can be so easy to go from one thing to the next in my day. It can be easy to be distracted all day if I allow myself. and not necessarily with less than ideal things, but just being a mom, doing my work, being a wife, doing things in my home. It can be so easy to just be on like this all day long. And so something that's helpful, I'm not necessarily doing a full body scan with every transition of my day. It's not like get the kids out, full body scan, do some work, full body scan, but doing a check in with myself and even starting with that intention of like, I'm grounding in, I want to set an intention for my day. How do I want to feel? What do I want to focus on? It really does help me come back to like if I've chosen a word for the day or even the week, sometimes a month. You can totally make it your own cup of tea, whatever resonates with you. But those pausings throughout our day, finding those pause moments for transitions, finding um, an intention of not being constantly distracted, and I'm speaking for myself, it can be incredibly helpful in getting things done that really matter to me. It's also a checkpoint for me when I'm grasping for things that offer me distraction. That could be um, Instagram or getting down a rabbit hole of um, researching something, which is an important part of what I do as a coach. But it's also, am I avoiding something? Am I distracting myself from something? um, that checking with self and that pause helps me, which leads into we live in a world with Instagram, and there are many, many, many benefits. We as a team and a company find clients through Instagram. We get to be educated through Instagram. We get to be inspired through Instagram. Um, there's a lot of pros, but something that I like to do, even just talking about settling in, checking in with that intention, is I like to be pretty aware of where my headspace is, where my capacity is, where my distraction tendency level is at, whatever you want to call that, before I choose into scrolling and not getting into like a doom scroll situation or just going into Instagram for dopamine hits. Now, we're human. It happens, right? But we using it intentionally and not expecting Instagram to be that plan, that layout. I'm going to follow this influencer, this person, this program, just how they're doing it and expecting certain outcomes. Um, the reason I wanted to go with this topic for the week is because, as I mentioned, because of the way that Instagram is a part of most of our lives or social media, we are constantly blasted with imagery and, in a sense, dopamine hits. And what I mean by dopamine hits is we're getting fed little, um, little snippets of information. And is it positive? Is it neutral? Is it having a negative impact on us? Are we going to a comparison game? I have many clients who um, speak to and voice their um, maybe negative things that they're noticing, like whether it's a comparison or whether it's like I get on Instagram at night and I just find myself like scrolling without intention. And in a sense, it's an entertainment thing too, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but we want to have a healthy relationship with it. And then also understanding the reality of watching people's lives, it's not the full picture ever, unfold before us as if we think we know this person. Um, and I'm not saying it's all a lie or a facade, but we aren't always seeing all the pieces. We usually aren't seeing all the pieces, right? And I feel like, especially for our group of coaches, our company, being authentic is very important to all of us. Being living what we teach is, I can attest that we all do that. We're also human, but we live what we teach. Um, and so that's not to say that when things are shared by influencers or programs or whatever is attracting your attention is a negative thing per se, but where does our mind take that? Where does it take our expectations? Um, I share on Instagram my own personal and then like also within Hungry Fitness. And I'm also not sharing every facet of my life. I'm not necessarily sharing how my day shifted, but then I fit in that habit that mattered to me in a different way. Sometimes I share snippets of that, but I think it's really important to understand that we as coaches really want to help our clients figure out what works for them and their life and their situations and their history, their genetics. Um, so many factors come into play, and that's why what I mean when we're not seeing all the picture, right? And so when we're following a certain plan, and I've even heard echoes and verbiage from clients of like, well, I want to look like this, or I want to, you know, um, that's a common one. I want to look like this, or I want to have this kind of body type. And from what I saw in this person's share or Instagram or feed or whatever. Um, and I think that can become very um, toxic in our expectations. What we are looking externally when we can put that energy in toward ourselves, showing up our best for our life, our circumstance, our season, and all of those things. So um when and again, here's the comment of like, I wanted to look just like them. You're also not, again, with not getting the whole picture, you're getting like these cherry pick situations. Like if you're following multiple, and it doesn't even honestly have to be influencers, it can be your best friend, it can be someone that you look up to or they've shared their piece with you, but that doesn't necessarily mean it won't necessarily give you the same outcome. And so it can leave you frustrated. It can feel like, why does it not work for me? Um, what like I must be the problem. I'm literally doing everything that this person says to do. I'm the problem. What's wrong with me and this cycle, right? So, as I mentioned before, what other people are doing has layers of pieces involved, meaning, like I said, their genetics, their lifestyle, um, their history of building muscle, where they've been in. I think of Michaela. She was a college athlete and she did CrossFit and she has a beautiful amount of muscle mass. And that took years to develop, but also Michaela doesn't get on and say, do what I do the Hungry Fitness workout, and you will look like me, right? We talk about building muscle and the importance of that for women and strength training, but nowhere are we advertising that you are going to look like someone else. We want you to be the powerful and strength building version of yourself. And the way that we know strength training, progressive overload, dialed in habits, intentional habits help each individual feel in their own life. So that's where one-on-one coaching offers, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, I will go into like, and you are probably already familiar with some of our options. It's not necessarily the only plan is the one-on-one coaching, but it does offer the most um, catered to you, more support, ongoing support, adjustments as needed. It's just a very tailored support for your individual life because that's what we want to focus on as coaches and put priority, um, and help you learn and um, build that consistency in your own life so that it's also not just this like, okay, I lost the weight or I did this body composition change, or I got stronger and then now what, right? It's like an we get to ever we get to choose if we want to continue living in building, building not just in like if we're working to build muscle, but just building a life that feels aligned with how we want to feel. And I personally, as Jess and as a coach, don't believe that that's something that we ever just arrive to. Like, okay, I'm arrived. I've done all the things. Check, check, check. And now I just like sit back, kick my feet up. And this applies to every area of my life. That's continuing my education as a coach. That's continuing my studies as a therapist. That's continuing how I choose to show up day to day, because we get to choose into that process of wellness, and we get to choose into that process of, I have one body and I'm going to take care of it mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, those things that apply and make us a whole, and the many facets that we are. So with having coaching, um, tools for lasting change, like I was discussing, this isn't just a check the boxes, meet the goal, but we get to carry these habits and things that we're learning as we are becoming more educated about ourselves and how things impact us throughout our life. It's not about that quick fix. Um, it's reclaiming empowerment. It's choosing into things not from a place of, oh, I can't have that. It's like, what am I choosing into that aligns best for my goals right now in this season, in this day, in this circumstance? It's a much more present approach than living like a robot, like, oh, I cannot have this, and being fearful of food. It's building and embracing the relationship with self, which impacts our relationship with food, and then not being stressed that, okay, once I'm done, like, as much as we like love our clients and it's like bittersweet when they get done, we want you to feel like, go, yes, you can continue to do this with your life even without. And there might be times where you circle back to a coach for certain reasons, or um different goals, more support, education, but we want you to fly. We want you to have that confidence of, I've got this. I've played out these scenarios. I know how this applies to my life. I haven't just followed this cookie cutter meal plan for months. And now once I'm done, what happens, right? It helps you to really embrace the the challenge, the game of, I get to level up in these scenarios that are new, right? Instead of just being fearful of scenarios, because life is ever changing. Our day to day changes. Um, so again, we're not going off of what's trendy. We're not going off of um, just anyone else's plan, but what fits you and your individual need. Um, and then just also kind of already talked about this, but we're looking at whole lifestyle, not just macros and movement. It's so much more than that, and that's not to be meant. That's not meant to be overwhelming. But you're so much more than intake and output. You're more than macros and movement. And so you get to embrace who you are, what your life looks like, and then apply your goals to that situation and scenario. And that's where coaching support can be offered. So a couple of one of these testimonials has pictures, and as coaches, we can all attest there are, and even if you've done our challenges, there's overlap to the habits that are going to be beneficial for most human beings. What that looks like, what your system looks like, how you execute that, that's going to look very different. And it's not, again, a one size fits all. So this client talks about, she had a lot of composition change, but beyond that, she just said, I'm so grateful for our time working together and for how gently and wisely you helped me reconnect with consistency and care for my body. Your coaching gave me the structure and safety I needed to start this journey in a way that finally felt sustainable and self-honoring. I'm feeling strong, steady, and clear, and that has so much to do with your support. Thank you for meeting me exactly where I was and helping me build momentum from there. That's another piece, is meeting our clients where they are at. And that's something that we all do as coaches. Um, and then another coach, I'm not going to read, or another testimonial, I'm not going to read through this, but I just will say that these clients had very different plans. One of them needed a lot of emphasis on pelvic floor support and different resources, and their calorie intake looked different. Their lives looked different. One was a very busy law school student. One who also like her because of that, her training and her structure and her schedule looked different. But not one size ever fits all, and that's what we're here as coaches to support you in. And like I mentioned before, macro consults, strategy calls are also options to at least get the ball rolling to help make an impact for your individual life. If you do a macro consult or a strategy call, you're going to fill out information that applies to you and your life. Of course, it's not going to be as nearly in depth as working with someone for months at a time, but that can also be a great starting point and also um, help you to essentially decide maybe even if you want one-on-one coaching or if that's something that you have a need for. So, one other thing that I wanted to do, I know we don't have a ton of time left, and I'm not going to put anyone on the hot seat. So if you have, except for maybe one of the coaches, but if you have a pen and a paper, please grab it. Notes in your phone is fine, but I really prefer a pen and a paper for this exercise. And I'm going to give it, if you're listening to this as a recording, press pause once I give instruction and do your little piece before you listen to the rest. But grab a pen and a paper, and I want you to write the name of someone who you look up to. And this doesn't necessarily have to be health and wellness driven, but someone that you admire, look up to. It could be someone who's passed, it could be someone who's in your life right now, it could be someone that you follow on social media, a neighbor, friend, but I want you to write their name at the top of the paper, nice and big and bold. And then I want you to list 3 to 5 things under their name that attract you to that person. What you're essentially writing the things down that draw you to this person. Someone maybe popped up in your mind immediately. Write down the reasons why. 3 to 5 reasons why that person is meaningful in your life, or inspiring, anything like that. And I'll give you just a couple minutes. Okay. Does anyone want to share their person? I will give anyone who's on the call an opportunity to share, but sometimes we're a little quiet on here. So if nobody wants to share, I will allow one of the coaches to volunteer to demonstrate this exercise.
I feel like you guys always hear from me, so I'm a backup volunteer, but someone else.
And ideally, if we can see your face.
I can go if no one else wants to go.
Thank you, Henrietta. Who did you pick?
It's a little cliche-ish, but I picked Michaela.
Oh, I love
That was
that.
the first thing that popped up in my head, and I actually was like, no, I have to find someone else. But then I was like, no, I was sticking to it. And I think what makes her inspiration to me is that we are very different in many ways. And I think at least for me, it's important to find inspiration in people that are not like me, because it provides a different view of life, a different view of how to do things, a different view of how to think, and that's interesting, I think. So Michaela's drive, just the fact that we are here as a big team, 4 years plus after she only being her and then me coming on board. Also, just solution oriented is something that I wrote, and she has that, she shares that with my husband. They are both very solution oriented, where I can get stuck in my head and just like, be there. It's more like, just do it, like just make it happen. And everything just becomes more easy. And you don't have to be in your head. Like I don't have to be in my head. So is very inspiring. And one of the reasons why I'm joining the retreat this October, because I was like, it's not going to work. But then it's like, of course it's going to work. Thanks to Michaela and my husband. And just now I'm wondering if I'm saying it correctly. No, what's it called when you are like, when you are yourself, when you're real, what's the word?
Authentic.
Yes, authentic. And that was kind of what you were talking to, and that is like, what you see is truly what you get. And I love that, like just keeping it real.
Yeah.
So that was
Oh,
my
wow.
shibba to you, Michaela.
Well,
Thank
thanks.
you.
I was not expecting that today.
Thank you for sharing. And I think we as coaches know Michaela pretty well, and it could be an absolute agreement with that. Um, and we love Michaela. We love, love, love her. But I'm going to actually ask you to cross her name off.
Cross it off.
Cross it
Thank
off.
you.
We're not Xing her. We're just crossing it off for a moment in effort of this exercise. And what I want you to do is write your name above Michaela's name or next to it, whatever.
And I'm gonna start crying.
Well, you
Tears are
made me
good.
cry, so that's good. You could get some payback.
Now, what I want you to do, Henrietta, is to read that list, but with your name. You said Michaela is these things, and I already know what's coming with this exercise. And I would love for you to read Henrietta is what you just wrote.
Just the same things. Okay, so Henrietta is driven. She's solution oriented and authentic.
I see
Also
all of those things
true.
in you too.
Also so true in
So
different
true.
Thank you.
And so thank you for being on the seat. And the point of this exercise is there's nothing wrong with admiring people. There's nothing wrong with feeling motivated by others. There's nothing wrong. Like Instagram doesn't have to be labeled as like a bad thing or how other people are choosing to share their own authenticity. Um, but I love this exercise as a reminder as what we see in other people is such an offering of what's already within us or what is accessible within us. I believe that we have it within us to see it in other people. Like again, I already knew what was coming with this exercise, and I was like, Henrietta, yep, also Henrietta, also 100% Michaela, but I'm like, and also Henrietta, right? So what we see in others is, and this goes in the other direction. I'm going to say one more tidbit and then I'll be done. This also goes for the triggering. If you are triggered in like a knee-jerk kind of way by someone or something, that's such an opportunity to pause and be like, why did that trigger me? Why does that person bother me so much? Or why does this bring something up in me? Right? Coming back to ourselves. And then also just doing our best to be honest with if something is not serving us as far as like our Instagram feed goes or the people that we're following, um, maybe take a break from that feed or that content. I would still encourage ask the the harder questions to yourself of like, why is this triggering to me? Why does this person bother me? Why am I annoyed by this person? And it's okay. We can have human feelings, but allow that to be a place of curiosity and teaching. But then notice, where is our intention? Where are our goals? How do we best align ourselves in everything that we're ingesting? Um, the things that we're seeing, hearing, all of that, right? And we get to choose into the power of how we utilize those things, those tools. But at the end of the day, following somebody else's plan for them and their genetics, their lifestyle, their season, la 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 la, is not going to give us what we want. Um, it's not going to necessarily align us with our goals. So um, we have our options of for coaching, we have our options for strategy calls, macro calls, and even maybe it's just starting with being a little bit choosier and pickier of what you want to take in and where your expectations lie, um, where the comparisons are at, and just even doing a little bit of filtering there. Um, so thank you for being on the call. Anyone else have anything to add before we wrap?
I was just going to say on that, I think social media can get the best of all of us in that way. And I think we follow accounts or even friends, like, you know, whoever you have that's filtering into your space. It can be easy to compare and feel less than and to feel like everyone's got it all figured out or everyone's succeeding, whether it's with their fitness or with their friends or their business or whatever it is. And I think just like asking yourself, is this feed or this account or this person, like, are they helping me want to be my best self, or are they making me feel not them, or am I feeling a certain way because I'm consuming this content? And just remembering, like, you are your biggest cheerleader and who you get to choose who you bring into your space, whether that's consuming something or like your actual close circle. And just remembering, like, nothing is worth your peace. So if there are accounts that are making you feel like your body needs to look a certain way, then you can turn those off. Like, you can follow accounts that just help you feel excited to be your healthiest, best self, because that's going to look so different on you than it will on someone else, especially someone else with like a perfect camera with perfect lighting set up on social media. So, um, yeah, I think it's so easy to get in our own heads with just how much information there is being thrown at us daily. Um, and, speaking for myself as well, like, living in a fear-based place never feels good. So how can you think about how you want to maybe shift or be your best self, or even just change your perspective, like Jess just did with that exercise? Like, how can you see yourself for all the amazing things that you are? Because we are all those things, and they have nothing to do with our bodies too. So thanks for sharing, Jess. I loved
So,
everything you've said.
yes, thank you for sharing. At the end of the day, we get to be the decider of what we're taking in. And I think that's just important to remember. And deciding in how we want to get support in the things that we're desiring. And if that's coaching, we are here to
Yeah.
help you. And thank
And
you.
also, yes, coaching 1000%. If you have any like inclination to hire a coach, I promise you will not regret having someone in your corner giving you strategies, helping you zoom out on big picture, and helping you stay accountable to your goals through actual sustainable habits that will serve you. So I've hired so many coaches over the last 2 decades. And I think there's no better way to really like make something a priority than to invest in yourself and have a coach with expertise to guide you and be in your corner. So thanks for sharing on that too. Oh, I think there is one question for you, Jess. Oh no, just love the exercise.
Great. Use it on your friends. Thanks, guys. Have a good
Thanks,
day.
everyone.